Boom. Episode 23 starts now. Welcome everybody. As people get jumped in, I'm going to try to get everything started on a loop ahead of time for shows going on now that I've got that starting screen. Hopefully I can get a countdown timer of some sort. I'd like to get some kind of music if I can get a unsigned band to create a little ditty of sort. What's up, Taylor? Oh man, let's see. A lot to talk about. A lot going on. What's happened in the last week in the NFL. What's potentially going to happen. We got the franchise tag started today. That goes until March 9th for teams to tag players. We'll be discussing that. Then we're also going to be talking about Carson Wentz trade to Indy tonight. We are also going to be breaking a box of 2021 Donruss Racing hobby box. We'll give away some cards out of that tonight. How about this last weekend? The Twin Oaks card show in Auburn, Washington. For any of you that showed up, that was fantastic. It has been just on the ascent for the last 5 months. Last weekend was the 5th show since the Twin Oaks card show moved to Auburn, Washington at the Outlet Collection there in Auburn. Previously, it was at the Factoria Mall in Bellevue. And that show, I stopped doing that show mostly because the mall traffic there wasn't that good. For being Bellevue, it still didn't get a lot of foot traffic as far as non-collectors. And a big portion of my business at card shows is Funko Pops. And unfortunately, at that mall, I'm not able to set up Funko Pops because of a particular store in that mall that has complained to mall management about comic books being sold at that mall, about Funko Pops being sold at that mall at the card show. So we were all told that we can't sell comics and we can't sell Funkos at that show. So moving the card show to the Auburn Outlet Mall was a fantastic decision. Plus, the foot traffic at that mall for mall goers, not even talking card show, but for mall goers, is probably 10 times what it is at the Factoria Mall. So, absolutely fantastic shows. And I'm able to bring the full gamut of Funko Pops as well. Even though there's a Funko Pop specialty store called Unlock the Con. Shout out to those guys there at the Outlet Mall there in Auburn. Fantastic group of people that work at that store, and they have been more than welcoming to us having Funko Pops sold at our table. In fact, they come over and they talk to us, and we've talked product, we've talked ideas and stuff, and they've bought a number of pops from my table as well. And it's bringing in a few more vendors. There was another vendor this last time that I recognized who also sells Funko Pops. So I think the Twin Oaks card show there being in Auburn is a home run, and from the sounds of it is going to continue growing and is going to continue being at that location. Talking to Ron, the guy that runs the show, he is talking about opening up the Factoria Mall again once they lift restrictions and they're able to do the show there. And I asked him, I was like, you're still planning on doing the Auburn show though, right? And he's talking about wanting to do 2 shows in this area a month. One at the Factoria Mall, one at the Auburn Mall. On top of that, then he also does the show down in Portland at Mall 205, which is in not this coming weekend, but the weekend after, so the first weekend of March, so March 6th, which I'll also be going down to that show and setting up as well. But I'm only going to do one table at that show. It's going to be sports cards only. And then I'm going to bring a few sports pops. That's about it. The last few times I did that show, Pops weren't really a big mover, and I don't really feel like loading up my truck and trying to get my wife's car down there at the same time, hauling 300 plus pops for a show that I'm going to sell 3. So paying for the second table to load it up with 300 pops isn't really justified for selling 3 or 4 pops. So I'm going to bring down like a couple of tubs of pops, of sports pops, you know, the football pops, baseball pops, basketball pops, and I'll bring those along and see if there's any more foot traffic at that mall, or if there's any collectors that are collecting things other than sports cars that show up before I bother bringing more than a tub or 2 of pops to that show. But anyway, so yeah, there was 60 plus tables this last weekend at the Auburn Outlet Mall. Fantastic show, amazing amount of people turned out. It was a lot of fun getting to chat with everybody, got to meet some new people, got to see people I haven't seen in a few months, got to see people I haven't seen in a few years. So it was a lot of fun. Had a great day, great turnout, great results, great sales made, and looking forward to the March show, which will be March 20th. If you haven't visited my website lately, sportsstuffhub.com, we have added an events page a few weeks ago, and we will be keeping the events calendar up to date with the card shows coming up, so that if you want to check out a card show, you'll be able to see all the different shows that I'm set up at and where we're at. So it's got dates, times, locations, everything built right into it, so you can see all that stuff, and you can find out when the card shows are, or you can just go to the Twin Oaks website, which is twinoakscards.com, and Ron keeps that up to date as best possible as well. But if you're already shopping for sports cards on my website, you might as well just, you know, click over the other tab and check out when the next card show is going to be. I am going to be working on some more dates coming up on that schedule as well. I'm trying to figure out how detailed I want to get into it, because I did originally want to have a calendar of sports cards releases, important sports dates like drafts, free agency periods, all that kind of stuff. But the way my events calendar, the events page works on my website, it actually schedules an event like a calendar. So it's a little bit tougher to do. But I'm going to play with it and figure it out, because I would like to have the availability to have events listed, major events in the sporting world listed, like I said, like free agency, first games, the different games, even have a schedule of all the different games for football or for basketball. Basketball would be a little bit tough right now, and baseball coming up would be a little bit tough as well, because there's so many games, and I don't think I have the infrastructure to really update that. But something I'm working on. Let's see what else we got going on coming up. Like I said, so March 6th, Twin Oaks Card Show in Portland, Oregon at Mall 205. And then next month, March 20th, at the Auburn Outlet Mall in Auburn, Washington. Joining me a little bit later tonight is the CEO of the Loupe app, Eric Doty. He's going to be joining me. We're going to talk a little Loupe app. He's going to explain what it is, how to use it, and a little bit of background behind it. And it's definitely going to be worth a listen. It's a new app that is going to change the breaking community significantly, and even the card selling community and buying community, because of its ease of use and the platform being so simple to A, navigate, B, sell on. It literally has a built-in store right into it for anybody that's doing a live stream. So it's pretty awesome. I checked it out. I wish that something like this existed when I was breaking, because this would have made it a lot easier for me to get into getting my breaks started online. This would have been a fantastic tool 3, 4, 5 years ago for a lot of us under the radar breakers that weren't massive, throwing a ton of money into advertising. And this blows BreakersTV.com out of the water. So, be a good interview later. I'm definitely looking forward to interviewing Eric a little bit later tonight. Starting off first, we're going to talk a little bit of Carson Wentz being traded from the Eagles to the Indianapolis Colts. A lot of people were skeptical of a trade could get done because of the cap hit for Carson Wentz. They definitely made it happen. And I got to admit, the Colts really got the better end of the deal here. But at the same time, the Eagles got away from a $40 million cap hit against Carson Wentz, and now they only have to deal with, I believe, 20 or 25 million. They got a third-round pick back and a conditional second, which could turn into a first-round pick if Carson Wentz starts 70 to 75% minimum of the snaps for the Indianapolis Colts this year, and if they make the playoffs, or if they make the playoffs. So it's either and or. So they could potentially, depending on how good the Colts do or how good Carson Wentz does, the Eagles could get a first-round pick out of it. So, and if they end up with a first-round pick out of it, the first-round pick would obviously end up being a later first-round pick if the Colts do make the playoffs. But still, if the Eagles can walk away with a first-round pick replacement for Carson Wentz and still have Jalen Hurts on the roster, that's a win-win. They knocked $20 million off of their salary cap, or off their books. They still take a 20-something million dollar salary cap hit, but Indy got a really good deal in it. If Carson Wentz does well, they give up a first rounder, which you can't hate him for that. And if he doesn't do well, the worst that they gave up was a second and a third rounder. So not a bad deal for him. And both picks aren't in the same year. It's this year's third and next year's conditional second or first. So the hit for Indy to pick up a starting quarterback, really not bad. And especially because they're not having to pay him his full $40 million guaranteed this year. That was split up, so Indy only covers half of it. So Indy's only got to pay like $21 million to Carson Wentz this year, after giving up pennies to get him. And now they don't have to worry about a starter. They had Andrew Luck in 2019. They had Phillip Rivers in 2020, and now they're going to have Carson Wentz in 2021. And Carson Wentz rejoins Frank Reich in an offense that he already knows, with a better offensive line than he's ever had in his career so far, with a better run game than he's had in his career so far, and with young wide receivers who can actually catch the ball, and it's proven that they can catch the ball. Because Phillip Rivers came in with no preseason, no training camp last year, and took them to the playoffs, and these guys actually could catch the ball. Now, T.Y. Hilton doesn't appear to be coming back to Indy this year unless they tag him or they re-sign him. I don't believe they're going to tag him. We're going to get into the franchise tag a little bit later tonight. But it sounds like we're going to end up with Carson Wentz throwing to a Michael Pittman, and then my guess is they'll probably draft another wide receiver. Either that or they'll sign a free agent wide receiver such as a Chris Godwin or Juju or something like that. So, Indy tooling up at low cost and could potentially be a Super Bowl contender if this works out. And Frank Reich and Chris Ballard look like frickin' geniuses when all said and done, because they took a gamble on Carson Wentz. Now, they could potentially look like complete buffoons if 3/4 of the NFL community, or the NFL watchers, I should say, is accurate with their assessment of Carson Wentz, that he's washed and that he's done. There's no more good football left in him. I don't believe that is accurate. I believe that Carson Wentz has a lot of good football left in him. I believe that he's going to a team that will put their faith behind him and is putting their faith behind him. And he's going to regain the semblance of play that he had in 2018 and 2019. I don't believe that he's going to fall on his face. He might struggle a little bit here and there because he does try to shoulder too much in games. But he's still a young quarterback with a lot of upside. So, and I think that's one of the reasons why Indy took the chance on him that they did. Number one, because of the history between him and Frank Reich, but also because of how much growth he still has and how high his ceiling is, because Carson is an extremely athletic and talented quarterback. If you can fix a few of the issues that he has, and if you can give him his confidence back in his team, so he doesn't feel that he has to do everything himself, and he doesn't have to, because you look at the way the Indy ran the ball last year. Jonathan Taylor came out the second half of the season like a man possessed. Frank Reich runs the ball and is not afraid to run the ball, and he knows when to run the ball so that it's positive, instead of being, my quarterback struggling, I got to force the ball. Jonathan Taylor did fantastic, and I don't see that changing at all this year, especially with that young offensive line that Indy's got. I got a feeling that Carson Wentz is going to end up in really good shape this year. All right, we do have, as I mentioned a little bit ago, in about 15 minutes, we're going to have Eric Doty from the Loupe app joining us. And before we get into that, though, we're going to talk a little bit about the franchise tag period that's coming up. Let me grab my screenshots real quick, guys. All right. So, courtesy of SpotTrack here, I want to thank them for providing the information here. So, the different types of tags we've got that are available for teams. We've got the exclusive tag, which pays out an average of the top 5 salaries at the position once the restricted tender period ends, which is mid-April. We have a non-exclusive tag, which is the sum of the last 5 tags, sum of the last 5 league caps times the percent change in the current league cap. A lot of numbers, don't worry about it. And then we got the transition tag, which is an average of the top 10 salaries at the position. Here is a list, courtesy of SpotTrack again, a list of the non-exclusive franchise tag values based on a $185 million league cap that we're estimating to be. That was announced that $185 million is going to be the minimum cap. So it could be higher. But so if a quarterback gets tagged this year, it's going to be $25.4 million on the non-exclusive. Running back's going to be 8.7, wide receiver 16, tight end 9.7, offensive line 13.9, defensive tackle 14, D end 16.2, linebacker 15, cornerback 15.2, and safety 10.7. And the transition tag values would be approximately $1.5 million less per position. So that's where hopefully you guys understand, who on the teams that you're rooting for and who your divisional opponents are when they get tagged, how much they're going to be making, how that affects the salary cap, and how those players are going to potentially look at getting paid the following year. This plays heavily into when you have a star player that is looking at being tagged, how much they're going to try to ask for a contract after being tagged. And every time they get tagged, that number goes up, as we saw with the Kirk Cousins fiasco with Washington a few years ago. It got to the point where, because they tagged him multiple times, they then couldn't afford to sign him in the 3rd year. Here are a list of the potential franchise tag second round guys, meaning that they've already been tagged once. Starting off with Dak Prescott, as you can see the difference in the dollars. So if Dak Prescott gets tagged a second time, it's 37.7. Now if we go back to the other screen here, we've got 25.4, which is the exclusive, non-exclusive franchise tag at 25.4. So because he was tagged a second time, it goes up to $37.7 million that he's going to be paid by Dallas unless they can get a deal done. Now, the rest of these players, obviously, because Dak Prescott is really the big name quarterback in all of this, we do have Matthew Judon over in Baltimore, and he would get a $20.1 million payday. Leonard Williams with the Giants, 19.3. Bud Dupree with Pittsburgh, 18.9. Same with Shaquille Barrett, 18.9. Brandon Scherf in Washington, an offensive lineman, would be due for $18 million. Joe Thuney in New England, 17.7. Ngakoue in Baltimore, 15.4. Simmons in Denver, 13.7. And Henry in the Chargers, $12.7 million. So, again, these can be some pretty big paydays when you get into a second franchise tag. Because, again, you look at what the original franchise tag getting tagged the first time, all these paydays turn into these numbers. So, pretty dang significant change, which is why these teams want to get these deals done. The franchise tag affords them to, if they can come to terms with signing the player on the tag, because the player doesn't have to sign their franchise tag. They can decline to sign and then sit out, or whatever the case may be. That's still a lot of money for the team to be shelling out, especially because Dak Prescott was asking for a little over 40, wasn't he, 40 to 45 million? Well, he's just shy of that now on a second tag if they tag him this. So, I mean, he's going to be making dang near what he was asking anyways if he does take the second franchise tag. And because of Dak's injury, if they decide to not re-sign him or offer him the big contract that he wants, it might not be a bad idea for Dallas to do the tag, get Dak on that contract, have him play this next year. Hopefully everything works out well, and then they can sign him to a contract next year in that $40+ million range area that he's asking for. And if he doesn't, they let him walk and he gets to test free agency. And obviously, as I said, it's different for every player. It's different for every position. So, you're dealing with quite a bit of differences when you're talking about a quarterback from a D end to an offensive lineman to a running back to a wide receiver to a safety, that kind of stuff. So, a lot of bookwork that comes into play here. So the tag period started today, and it goes through March 9th. Now, players can be tagged and then traded, but they have to sign their tag in order to be traded. So if a player is not happy being tagged, and they don't want to be tagged, but they don't want to leave, they can't be traded until they sign the franchise tag. So if a player doesn't want to leave, they can force the team's hand on that, and then they'll sit out all season, or they'll force a contract restructure right then and there, or a contract signing, or again, like I said, they could just sit out all season. There's a lot of drama that goes on with franchise tags, and it's a deep rabbit hole if you really dig into it. And a lot of times it doesn't work out pretty for either side. It can lead to some ugly divorces. It can lead to some really bad free agent market guys that then struggle to get the deal that they want because of that holdout. And I'm not saying that they're destroying their reputation, but the NFL community obviously is tight-knit, and owners and GMs do talk, and it's all publicized anyways. But it's a lot of drama. You get your contract, you get tagged, or you don't get your contract, and you get tagged, and then you want to try free agency, or if you hold out, and yeah. I mean, we got players right now that, held out before that are sitting there on the brink of not having a team this next year. You look at some of these players that either got hurt last year or um, didn't or held out. For example, Dak Prescott, they did not come to terms on a contract. Look what happened. He got injured. Now it's a big gamble for him at this point. You look at a player like Jadeveon Clowney. Again, another player who's bounced around to a couple of teams over the last few years since he left since he left Houston. And now he got hurt last year, only played a couple of games. Now what happens? So it's a big gamble when you hold out. It's a big gamble when you test free agency, period, because the situation that you come into may not be the best fit for you. Albert Haynesworth was a perfect example of that. When Albert Haynesworth left Tampa Bay, he was highly regarded as being a fantastic defensive lineman. And he was one of the top free agents in football. And he was top 10 in the top 100 at the time? And he goes and signs that deal, that big money deal with Washington, and he just disappeared. Because the scheme that he went to didn't fit his what he did well. And so he just fell into oblivion and washed out of the league because he never found another good spot to play at the level that he was at, because the type of defense he needed to be a true nose tackle. And that's where some of these defenses, when they bring on a true nose tackle, but they want to run a 4-3, some of those guys don't do well. Okay, we got just a couple more minutes here till Eric from Loupe shows up. Couple other things while we're waiting for Eric to buzz in. End of the show, we're gonna rip a box of 2021 Panini Donruss Racing. We're gonna give away some cards out of that tonight. A lot of cards coming out in March, by the way. So I know there was some delays. There was obviously some inclement weather that happened kind of in the middle of the country from the northern Canadian border down to the Mexico border. And it delayed a number of things. It delayed Panini, it delayed TriStar, it delayed Leaf. We're going to see a flurry of products hitting the market in March. Just saw a ton of pre-order solicitations hit the emails of everybody with the wholesale accounts, and they're all the wholesalers are asking for everybody to get their orders in just like that because of those delays that we saw, and because we saw a bunch of products get moved, and now everything's in crunch time, and they need to get a bunch of these products out by the end of March. So we could end up seeing an absolute flurry of products hitting from March. I think the first release day is March 3rd through the end of March. I don't think they're going to push some of these products back into April because then it's really going to play hell on trying to get the things out that end each product release, such as like Flawless is typically one of the things that comes out, one of the last products to come out for each sport. And if we push Flawless football back into June, then we're really interfering with the 2021 football releases, because by that point we're already 2 months past the draft, and we've already got 21 product coming out. I mean, I'm already seeing pre-order solicitations come out for some of the 2021 products like Leaf Metal Draft and football products like that. So be watching for the flurry of products to be coming out in March. It's going to be tough to keep up with, I think. I don't necessarily know if it's going to do anything to really hurt the market, but it's definitely going to put breakers in a place of having plenty of product to rip and plenty of product to sell. And a lot of the retailers are going to have a flurry of product hitting the shelves. So, speaking of breaking, I want to introduce, for our interview tonight, I want to introduce a man who's former Microsoft employee and CEO of the Loupe app, Eric Doty. Welcome, Eric. Good to see
Hey,
you,
thanks for
sir.
having me.
You can hear me fine, right?
Yep. Yep.
Perfect. All right. I had to make sure that my sound is working all right. um, so, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Doty, tell us a little bit about, to start with, your background of working at Microsoft.
Yeah. So I worked at Microsoft for almost 7 years in the Xbox division, and a lot of my role was working around different parts of the division, mostly on public-facing things. So working on forums, working on communicating with users in regions where Xbox Live was being expanded to. This was during the Xbox 360 era. And the last bit of my time there was working on the launch of the Xbox One. And we did a big campaign. It was me and two others working on basically like giving out free consoles and free video games for the launch of the Xbox One, just to make sure that our longtime gamers basically started the next generation off right.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to work on a lot of really fun stuff at Microsoft.
Awesome. That would have been awesome to be on that list of getting a free Xbox One. Maybe afterwards you give me some tips to get on that list.
Maybe. We'll see.
I'm not much of a gamer though, so I mean, I more use it for the apps and for just the versatility of a gaming system. It's just one of those things that, you know, it's almost like nowadays having a gaming console is like having a Blu-ray player. I mean, it does the same thing, except it's more versatile.
Yeah. A lot of WandaVision being watched online right now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So Loupe,
Mhm.
what? Let's start with what was the inspiration and what gave you the idea to create this app?
Yeah, so I grew up collecting mostly baseball cards when I was a kid. And like a lot of people, not surprisingly, I took a break for many years. Um, and over the last couple of years, I started to get back on the sports cards. And I was looking around, there were stories popping up, Gary V's shouting from the mountaintops that about sports cards, and I see accounts popping up left and right on Instagram just talking about sports cards. And the more I followed, the more I realized that sports cards were getting bigger, but there was a lot of things that were lacking. Like, because except for like a core set of collectors who stuck with it all these years, a lot of things just didn't get improved upon. Like websites were still using old, like 2007 designs, and it's the same couple providers. But I noticed that there were some people who were trying to sell cards through Instagram through live video, either singles, but mostly what you call breaks. So they'd sell a pack or a box, and then they would open that box on stream live, and it would be for a single person, or they'd divvy teams out to different people that bought it. And I just started to get into that more and more. It was really exciting. It was entertaining. It's an easy way to kill an hour when it's like 11 o'clock at night and you're not ready to fall asleep yet.
Yep.
And I started to buy in, and I realized that, oh, these guys want me to go to PayPal and like leave the stream, go to PayPal and pay them and send them my info separately, and then come back to the stream. And basically, as I was doing this multiple times, because I love the experience of the box opening and the entertainment of it, but the process to get there was such a pain, both for me and them. So my background in video games and live streaming and mobile apps, because I worked for a startup and ran a game studio for 4 to 5 years after my time at Xbox. I looked at all of my experience for the last like 12 years and went, I can build something for this. Like, it was almost for myself more than it was anybody else. I can take all of these things that people are doing on Instagram Live or YouTube, and just make it one app and make it seamless, make everything from the creating the live stream to viewing to making the purchases to communicating the shipping info. Like all of that can be done in one place. And that's ultimately what resulted in the launch in October, was just a stubbornness of me going, hey, I think I can make this better.
So now it's been live for 5 months, 4 months.
For today, actually, exactly today.
Happy anniversary. So now you did tell me before that it's currently only set up for iOS. Android's coming.
Android's coming in March. Yeah,
perfect.
Very soon.
So it'll be multiple platforms. So then you won't have to be on Android to watch iOS. It's all interchangeable. The interface all works cross-platform.
Yep. So no matter which one they're streaming from, and no matter which one you're watching on, it'll be the same. The only difference is on iOS right now, it's sign up with Apple ID and you pay with Apple Pay because it's only iOS. That's fine. With the introduction of Android, we're going to have Google login as well as an additional way to pay on Android, because no one on Android is going to want to use Apple Pay. So we'll introduce a new way to log in, a new way to pay, but otherwise everything else will be identical between the two platforms.
Very cool. So now that we covered a little bit about behind the app, I got a couple of screenshots that I'm gonna put up here if you don't mind. So I logged in, and for everybody watching, so this is what the homepage is going to look like now. I'm assuming the homepage looks the same for a registered breaker as it does for just a customer buying in.
Yeah. The main page that you land on when you open the app it's basically a blog. It's both. We have writers from both our team, and then we have a partnership as well with a website where they provide content every week. And sometimes it talks about vintage, sometimes it's modern stuff, sometimes it's just a recap of what happened this month on Loupe. And we're going to keep adding more and more content there, like video content, and probably post there 3 or 4 times a week.
Very cool. So then if you change over to the stream page, so this is what customers are going to see for what streams are live. Thankfully, I logged in when there was actually people streaming so I could get some content for this. So this is all the different streamers, and I don't have a moving scroll on this, obviously, but so if you can scroll down for however many people are live, and then all you got to do is click on each one, and it takes you directly into their live stream. Now, is there a limit to how many people can be live on the site at once, or is it?
No,
it's just go.
I think the most we've had is 8 at one time. But again, we're only 4 months old, so we're still signing sellers. We're building out the system, but to my knowledge, there's no maximum at all. And you'll notice on the thumbnails, so we show their logo, we show their name, and then those icons underneath their name are actually live populated. So that goes in and grabs from the database, because they can add a category to what they post. So if they have a 2021 NBA hoops hobby box or packs, there's a set of category buttons they can hit, and they can go, oh, this is basketball. And when you go to the sale items page, it says basketball. And we actually, from this screen, we actually pull against that. So if you were to refresh this and they sold out a Pokemon, that little Pikachu icon would actually go away. It's all dynamic content.
Oh, very cool. So if somebody were to come in and they were specifically looking for a certain sport or a certain type of product, the overlay screen of this tells you what each person has loaded in their store.
Yeah, and
Very cool.
The one where it's probably the most valuable is soccer. Soccer and hockey aren't as popular on Loupe as obviously baseball, football, and basketball. But the people that do buy hockey and soccer are ravenous to
Yes,
to buy it. So
because it's so
whenever there's
tough
a
to
little
find a good breaker of it.
whenever there's a little soccer ball up there, I noticed that the soccer fans like gravitate to that stream very quickly.
Yeah,
'Cause you just
that
don't,
makes sense.
yeah, you don't see it that often. Hopefully that changes.
Yeah, on just on social media alone, I see a lot of people that'll tweet out and say, "Hey, tag me a breaker that's breaking soccer or breaking hockey or whatever the other non-primary three sports are. Tag me in something like this." Especially like when WNBA Prism came out, I
Mhm.
saw people constantly that were like, "Hey, if you know a breaker that's breaking WNBA Prism, tag me." And this would be perfect. Now, did you have an icon different for WNBA?
No, that just falls under basketball.
Okay.
It's rare enough now. If more WNBA product is made at a reasonable volume, then we'll probably give them their own icon.
I'd like to see it. I thought they did well with Prism WNBA Prism this year. That I
Mhm.
thought it justified doing a few more releases a year for the WNBA. It seemed like it was pretty popular.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they at least get one a year. And it's interesting because you have a lot of these veteran players who, they don't have a rookie card, or at least of a mainstream product like Mini, they don't have a rookie card.
Hmm.
But now they have their first Prism, which I think will be almost as good as a rookie card for the good players because it's like this is the official first Prism card they ever got, which is pretty significant. Um, like I was looking up the Sue Bird base card, and then they made a gold auto for her,
Hmm.
and like it's already going up in price. Like it's incredible to see the support they're getting.
Yeah, it was. They did well with it, and I do like seeing the WNBA get some recognition in the hobby world as well.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's move further into the app a little bit. So into, I believe it was the top one I went on with the Casa breaks.
Mhm.
So this is inside a streamer's screen, and this is what a customer would see. And as everybody can see, there's the chat that comes up from the bottom of the screen. So walk us through a little bit about what we're looking at here.
So this is a pretty straightforward screen. There's a chat view, which you're on right now, and it tells you how many people are currently watching the stream. The tab on the right on the bottom is sale items, and that just tells you, I think it says 81. Yeah, it just tells you how many items are available currently. And if you hit, let's say like half those items are sold and you're scrolling, a lot of those set up, or you haven't set up yet, but it'll say like buy with Apple Pay.
Hmm.
That'll be gone, and you'll just be scrolling, and it'll be like all these blank entries. If you hit show available, it'll hide everything that's purchased. It'll just give you a very clean view of what you can buy.
Okay.
And yeah, we put the name of the breaker at the top. We have an actual toggle for mute on screen. And also, if you minimize the app and run it in the background, you can just listen to the break. I do that all the time when I work. I just leave it in the background. And then when I hear them get excited or they hit something big, I like grab my phone and bring
Open
it
it
back
back
up
up.
and watch them.
Very
Um,
cool.
but yeah, buying is super simple. When you hit buy, there's just a simple confirmation with Apple Pay. It takes maybe 4 seconds. It's super quick. And then there's a notification in chat that pops up that says, Eric bought, 2021 NBA Hoops pack. And it's really nice because there's such a low latency. It's less than a second. It's like a 20th of a second. So if the breaker goes, hey, Eric, pick pack 1 through 7, I'm answering back 5. Like I choose the number 5. I'm answering back so fast. It's almost like a natural conversation.
Hmm.
Unlike other platforms where you'll find sometimes there's a second or a few seconds of latency, to the point where like it's really difficult to have a conversation because you're asking and then waiting for them to see it and type that answer.
Right.
Um, So yeah, we really just focused on simplicity and streamlining everything. So you don't worry about the technology. You don't worry about setting things up. It's just super quick.
So you did say something that really intrigued me. So this will stay on in the background apps.
If you're watching, yes.
Okay, because I've got other apps that play whether it's audio or video, and when you minimize them on Android, or excuse me, on Apple anyways, the sound stops. So you've actually got it set up so this continues to play.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, when you minimize it, the video basically just stops and goes in the background, but the audio keeps playing. So you can literally just listen to them talk about product and talk to other people in the stream. It's nice background noise. It's almost like listening to a podcast. Like it's just like somebody talking about cards, and then there's like some dead air. Like if it's in the middle of the day and it's slow, sometimes it'd be kind of like dead air, and they'll just be like talking to random people that come and chat. And it's just, I don't know. I'm not going out a lot lately. Still in the middle of a pandemic, so it's kind of nice. Like I'm not going to a sports card shop or many shows right now, so it's kind of nice just to have somebody in the middle of the day talking about sports cards. And then if they say something interesting or pull a monster card, like I'm grabbing my phone and I'm like joining the conversation. It's nice. I personally like it like that.
Mm-hmm. So just to, I guess we'll do it this way. Explain how the payment, you being the middleman to the breakers, is set up for the people watching so that they understand who's being paid, how it's being paid, because since this is all handled internally, obviously the breakers aren't, they don't have access to the backside of this website. So how do you guys handle payments, and how does it get dispersed to the breakers?
Yeah, so just from the beginning with a breaker, they apply and we vet them. We make sure they're running a legit business, that they can handle the scale of selling on Loupe. And then once they're added and they make a sale, basically the process is, let's say you're the buyer, you hit that button, Apple Pay processes the payment and it sends it to Loupe. All payments of all purchases go to Loupe. And we have full access of who bought it, their shipping info, what they bought, and who they bought from. And we, in chat, you get a little alert that says so-and-so bought X product. In the sales item tab, the item is basically the purchase button is removed and it says it's already claimed by name. And then we send an email to the seller saying, this person purchased this for this much. Here's all their shipping info. And that's really all they need. And what we do is the next day, we calculate everything. So we go through our list that's output from the payment processor with all of that purchase info. And we go, okay, so Casa Breaks did $5,000 in sales last night. And we calculate that up. We take a small fee from it. Basically, there's no monthly fee or upfront fee. It's just a small percentage of every purchase through the platform. We take our fee and then we pay out all the rest in a lump sum every day. So I send that out to Casa Breaks, and whoever, let's say 5 people sold last night, the next morning I send out 5 payments minus our fees, and it's pretty smooth. We also try to handle all support up front. So if somebody has an issue or has a question, it goes to us first, and then we route. Maybe there's a very specific question we can't answer. Like if it's about the platform or payments, we can answer it. But if it's like, oh, I didn't catch when Casa Breaks was going to ship that out, I can either answer because I know their schedule, or I can just connect the buyer with Casa Breaks directly in email and just be like, hey, this person had a question, can you please answer it? It's kind of nice because we're kind of that filter. So by handling everything as much as we can, we let the breakers and the sellers focus on just running their business. So making the sale and shipping. Everything else we try to just do as easy as possible and take that off their plate so they can just focus on the important stuff. And it's, we're 4 months in, it's going great. We keep tweaking things a little bit here and there, but for the most part, I feel like we really nailed it on the first try. And now we're just adding fun features. We're looking at a lot of different things that can make brakes better. And some other things we want to do that really help you. If our goal is to be on the phone of every collector, then we're going to try to do a little bit of everything, down to like education and anticipation of product and making you more knowledgeable about what's coming out, to purchasing and live streaming, to potentially selling your cards, and then what do you do with your collection, and how can Loupe help you manage and understand what your collection is. So we have a big year ahead.
And because you vet every single streamer that's on here, you're kind of putting your own neck out on the line. You're putting your own reputation on the line for the people you're allowing to stream.
Oh yeah. And that's something that we really pride ourselves on over, something like eBay, where, they're going for mass scale. And like, it's easy for us to say that because we're 4 months old and they're many years old and they're, massive company. But for right now, that's the right thing for us to do, is we vet everyone. Everybody we sign is potentially, I shouldn't even say potentially, every streamer that we sign is somebody's first stream on Loupe. It's their first, like, someone just downloads the app, opens up, I don't know who this person is, I'm going to tap on the thumbnail and go watch them. Mm-hmm. Every single streamer is going to have that, a first-time user checking them out. So we really think through that and making sure that we get people who represent us well, that they're positive, they're bringing something positive to the hobby, as well as that they can just professionally handle the scale. Like, I don't need to hear that somebody's having shipping delays because they weren't ready. They went from 0 to 100. So we need to make sure we have people who are running legit card businesses already, and understand what that takes. And if somebody fools around or has too many errors or turns out to be a scammer, like worst case scenario, they turn out to be a scammer, like that moment they're off the platform, or just causing issues in general. Like, they don't need to be on Loupe. And we want to build a positive, friendly community, and anybody that, kind of causes chaos, and if we ask them politely to stop and they don't, then that's a good sign that they don't need to be on the app.
Right. Well, and that leads me into the next question, because you are the, I guess we'll call it the payment processor, or the middleman when it comes to the payment going from the buyer to the streamer. Mm-hmm. What would happen if because this is a big concern with a lot of breakers, if, let's say, brand new customer A comes in, buys $100 spot in a break, they go hitless, they get nothing in it, here comes Mr. Chargeback. What mm-hmm. happens in that scenario?
So we have a lawyer, and our payment processor is amazing. So they know the risks. They know the market we're in. Just collectibles in general. Mm-hmm. And they have fraud detection. We can block people from making. So if it's one purchase, that's bad, but I'm for sure not going to let you make a second purchase. Right. You're not going to come back. And that's something that we've definitely thought about and looked at, and we have systems in place that I feel fairly confident about. But again, that's something that we're taking on behalf of the seller. And that's, I think, another big value of our platform, is that it's very different for us to have systems in place for that and handle it, versus somebody who's working out of their home doing breaking as a hobby, and suddenly, one day they just wake up and they have like $100, $200 chargeback. It's very different. So we want to protect them, because if they're just really good at selling and being breakers and bringing something, as I said, bringing something positive to the hobby, if us protecting them from that allows them to flourish and get bigger and build out a real business, then it's totally worth it for us. Like that's a compromise we need to make, and the hobby will be better for it.
Absolutely. One of the things that I did want to make sure that we cover as well, I know for anybody that has done any kind of streaming on, platforms like Twitch or YouTube or Breakers TV or anything like that in the past, you had to download encoding software in order to get from your computer or your device up onto the screen. Now, if I recall the conversation correctly, your encoding software is actually built in, so there's no additional software needed to stream on your platform.
No, so the same app that you use to watch streams and make purchases, it's the same exact app if you're a seller. There's a button that gets, when you get added, there's a button that shows up at the top that just lets you go live. That's it. If you've ever gone live on Instagram Live, it's very similar. We have a small staging stage phase. So you say, like, basically, I want to stream. It opens up and creates it's basically an offline stream. Like, no one can see it. It doesn't show up anywhere, but you can see what you're going to broadcast through your camera. So you can set it up, and then you can load in all your items. So you're not live, like no one can see your stream or chat or anything yet. You can set all that up. It's in the app, and then you say, okay, I'm ready. And then it just turns on, and then you show up in the stream list, and people can join and watch and buy. And I think we really pride ourselves on how easy it is, and everybody has a phone. So that doesn't mean we won't eventually maybe support desktop streaming or streaming into Loupe. But today, with the way we have all the tools built, we really want to keep it mobile only. I think it just, everyone experiences Loupe the same way. And I think right now that's really important for us, especially when we're trying to support. Because the moment you start adding in new platforms and somebody says, oh, I had an issue streaming, and then you're like, okay, well, what are you streaming with? What are your settings? You have to like go down that rabbit hole to figure out like exactly what the issue is. Whereas if everybody's using the same thing, then it becomes very simple. Of like, okay, well, I already know what you're streaming on. I know what you're streaming with. Now I can really dive into like what the problem is. So we'll probably stick with just mobile for at least a few months.
Yeah, and until people start asking for additional features for their streaming, anyways, this seems like the perfect setup for them to be able to use for it, especially because of how streamlined it is. Mm-hmm. Coming from a guy who spent years breaking, I wish something like this had existed when I was doing this, because it would have made my life so much easier. Now, one thing I do want to add to this as well is the additional feature as a seller of not just having to be a breaker, but you and I were talking about this before, of just selling single cards is also something that a streamer could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'd say 95% of sales on Loupe are packs and boxes, either personals or they're doing some form of breaks or hit drafts. But there is a growing presence of either those sellers or sellers that only do singles. Like Basketball Card Guy is doing a huge sale on Sunday. I don't know if you've ever seen him on Instagram, but he has just this amazing collection of mostly vintage, early 2000s to much earlier than that. So he'll get on and he'll actually have he'll have like 30 cards ranging from 50 to many thousands. He had a Kobe rookie graded Kobe rookie card. Sorry, it's late. Like PSA, and he was selling it. It was like $15,000-$16,000, selling it on a Loupe stream. And what I love about his streams is with every card he has a little story of, he knows about the player, he knows about the card, he knows about the product that the card came from. And then sometimes he has a story about how he got the card or how long he's had it. And it's just a really nice stream to like sit down with like a nice glass of brown beverage and various brown beverage and just listen to like him talk about cars. It's so educational, especially for sports that like my knowledge of basketball, especially that far back, is like very minimal. So it's such an education, and then you hear it and then somebody buys the card, and it's such like after you've got this connection to it, and then you watch somebody buy it, and it's like everybody's congratulating them, like, oh, that's so cool. If you didn't buy it, I was gonna do it. And I don't know. It's just a nice, friendly experience. Like I said I worked at Xbox and I loved playing Xbox, and I worked on a game server and I like playing the game. But this is probably the most emotionally attached I've been to a product that I've directly worked on. It's like I just feel so personally invested, especially in our regulars. You see like somebody that's been around for like 3 months just stop by and they're like, yeah, I just sold a bunch of cards. I got some money. I'm looking for a Michael Jordan. And then, someone like basketball card guys like, oh, well, lucky you. I have a 88 Michael Jordan PSA 8. And, you just get like this really cool connection to the streamers and the community and the cards that are being sold.
Very cool. Very cool. So that's all the time I got for you tonight, Eric. I appreciate you coming on, and very informative. And everybody watching, make sure you go download Loupe. When you download it, it's Loupe.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yep.
Loupe.
Yep, and I got it at right above your screen there.
Perfect.
There are when you do search it, there are some other options that come up, but it is literally the first one, and it's the only sports related one out there, so it's pretty simple to find. So again, appreciate you coming on tonight, Eric. Make sure you guys all go check out Loupe, the app, and have some fun. Check out some breakers on there, buy some stuff, and feel safe that you're backed by the app itself that has your back when you purchase or when you sell on it.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Eric. All right. Okay, that was Eric Doty, CEO of Loupe. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, definitely go check that out, guys, because I was playing around with it a little bit earlier today, and I was impressed with the setup. It's really easy to navigate. It's really easy to get in and out. Making purchases is simple. And as he said, it's on iOS right now, so your Apple platforms, and it's coming to Android in March. And yeah, it's pretty solid way to buy, pretty solid way to sell too. I mean, they back you, you're covered. So it looks like it could be a very good thing to get involved in. I absolutely, Zeus, I would give it a shot. Eric is on Twitter as well. If you want to give him a follow, his Twitter handle is @DMZilla, ZILLA, the letter D as in dog, the letter M as in monster, Zilla with a Z as in zebra, ILLA, @DMZilla. But definitely give it a shot. If you're selling singles online, like the way what he was talking about with that one guy, excuse me, with that one guy that sells on there as well. You put all the stuff in there and people can buy right there as you're talking. So definitely worth checking out. Okay. What do we have going on for basketball games tonight? Did anybody let me get out of here real quick. Because we talk about basketball all the time. I figured we'd cover it a little bit. Basketball. What do we got going on tonight? Looks like we've got Cleveland took down the Hawks. We got the Pistons over Magic tonight. The Nets beat the Kings. The Warriors over the Knicks. Sixers over the Raptors. We got a 1-point game in Dallas. We got the Mavericks and Celtics. It's a 105-104 Boston lead with 37 seconds, which my computer's probably behind anyways. Looks like the Bucks are up on the T-Wolves late in the fourth. And then yet tonight we still have Nuggets Blazers and the Wiz Kids playing the Clippers. So a lot of basketball action tonight. A couple of games on TNT even. That Celtics Mavericks game probably was pretty dang good to watch. LeBron bricking the free throw to tie the game last night. Yep. Yeah, that was shocking seeing Washington come back and pull off a win over the Lakers. But Lakers have been struggling the last week, and you know, rightfully so. Anthony Davis goes down. That does hurt. You know, that does hurt them going forward. You know, we'll see what happens to them. I know everybody was talking about LeBron being MVP candidate, but you know, he doesn't have any star players with him anymore now that Anthony Davis went down. But he does have a lot of good role players. So this will really be a test to see how LeBron handles being really the only big name left on the roster right now. Yes, Marc Gasol does look old. I would agree, David. I do believe that Devin Booker got snubbed from the All-Star. All right. Pitchers and catchers reported. We got spring ball started already. Yeah, baseball. Dumbass got fired from the Mariners resigned from the Mariners organization, rightfully so. So we'll see if they actually, if the Mariners decide to actually take a step forward and improve as an organization. It's stupid stuff like that just, when you look at all the struggles of the Mariners organization, it comes from the top. It always has. And I'm not going to get too much into this right now because it's a lot of crap I don't want to talk about. It's really frustrating, especially if you're a Mariners fan. If you aren't a Mariners fan and you don't pay attention to the Mariners, you probably have no idea what goes on in the front office, but it's a shit show. Let's just call it that. So, CEO stepped down, resigned, whatever you want to call it. Good riddance. They need some better leadership. Let's see. Yes, Sabonis snubbed as well, and I'm a big fan of Domantas Sabonis. I think that kid is improving daily. You know what? While we're on, and because we got a little bit of time yet before we do our box rip, let's talk everybody's favorite subject: NBA Top Shot. The new trading clip, moments, blockchain, whatever you want to refer to it as, that is taking the nation by storm. NBA blockchain is a licensed video moment that collectors can own a piece of the moment. It's about a 13-second clip of a highlight of individual players. And you buy these moments in, we'll call them cheaper packs, where you get 3 to 5 moments. And these moments are limited of anywhere from, at the moment anyways, anywhere from, I've seen them as low as numbered out of 49, all the way up to 15,000 currently. And then they turn around and people are paying thousands of dollars to buy them off of people. And it has gotten to a point where it's a little crazy. I dipped my toe in last Monday, and I bought a limited release, a limited edition pack called the Cool Cats series, where you got 5 moments in it. There was 45,000 packs available for sale. I was lucky enough to get one for $14. And at first, I didn't really think I had anything fantastic out of it. And I was talking to Ivan at Watch the Breaks on Twitter, and who's a big supporter of Top Shot. And I have the Tyler Hero limited edition, or excuse me, Tyler Hero limited edition Cool Cats Series 2. And there's 12,000 or 10,000 of them. And at the time, it was about a $90, $100 moment, and I was kind of like, okay, cool, you know, I'm going to make some money on this. And a week later, it's up at over 900. It's spiked at almost $1,500, and then a bunch of people have listed theirs for sale, undercutting each other to try to make some money and cash out. Now, I will say, the issue so far with Top Shot, they run through a currency converter called Dapper, which is a blockchain, or I should say a cryptocurrency type of account. So when you sell within the internal marketplace, your money goes into your Dapper account. In order for you to cash out, you have to do your verifications and all this kind of stuff. It takes roughly 30 days. Right now, there's over 75,000 users signed up on Top Shot so far. And as of the other day, it sounded like 8,000 people so far have completed their ability to transfer funds out of their Dapper account. So right now, if you sign up, you can't cash out if you sell anything. Now, there are ways around that. There have been people selling their moments on eBay. I've seen direct transactions take place on Twitter, to where it's direct PayPal or Venmo. I've overheard people talking about it, trading in cash at the Auburn Card Show over the weekend. I overheard a couple people talking about it. How that transaction would then take place is you do your payment through PayPal or on eBay or cash or Venmo or however else you're going to do it. There's an ability to gift moments within the app. So what you would do is you would take your payment on PayPal or whatever else may be, and then the owner of the app then gifts the moment to the buyer, so that there's at least a transaction taking place between the two, and then the other person then owns it going forward. It's not illegal to do trading in that capacity. Top Shot doesn't recommend it, mostly because if something were to happen within the transaction, like if the seller didn't send it or if the buyer didn't pay for it or whatever, they have nothing that they can do because it's not an internal marketplace transaction. So it's risky, but it can pay off. A lot of people on social media right now are very against it and very negative about it. And a lot of that's because a lot of people have the mindset of if they didn't get on it to begin with and they're not making a ton of money on it, it's bad. There's a lot of people that are making money on it. There's a lot of money that will still be made on this app. It's still in beta. I want to make sure that I say that right now. It is still in beta, meaning they have not fully released this website yet. There's still a lot of stuff. They're still in trial mode, essentially. There's still a lot going on with this thing. They're talking about in the future making because packs are really tough to get. They're talking about having packs available almost non-stop in the future, which is then going to create a point where the we won't call them print runs, but the amount of serial numbers would reach in the hundreds of thousands, thus dropping the price, the value of each moment, which if you were watching this 2 weeks ago, a week ago even, there were moments that were selling for $2 and $3. And now those same moments are minimum. If you go to the marketplace right now, the lowest ask, what's called an ask, which is the lowest price that somebody has a moment listed at, is at $18 today. A week ago, those same ask prices were $2 and $3, some even as low as $1. So with everything being quote unquote limited edition right now, and if the serial numbers that they're suggesting that they're going to do continue to increase, all these now limited of 15,000 are just going to erupt. And I know what a lot of people are saying. How is something that is 15,000 available considered limited, or how can it carry value? Well, we live in the card world. A lot of us, a lot of people watching this right now, collect sports cards. Tell me how many Prism rookie Luka Doncic were made. Guarantee you it's over 15,000. And yet that card, raw, is a couple $100. That card in a PSA 10 is 1,000 plus. A PSA 9 right now is probably what, $500. With this setup, there's no grading, there's no condition to worry about, there's no worries as far as what you're owning. You're owning that video clip, that serial number of the video clip, and you don't have to worry about what the last person did to it, what the condition is when you receive it. It's a digital footprint. And I know a lot of people are talking about, well, I can go and watch the same video on YouTube. That's fantastic, but you don't own that moment licensed by the NBA. Because one of the other things that I will say is that the NBA is also, the NBA Players Association is also getting kickbacks for the transactions for each player. So LeBron or Giannis or KD, or let's even talk some of the smaller guys that don't have massive contracts, the Bismack Biyombo's, the Jonas's, the J. Michael Greens, the Spencer Dinwiddies. They're getting money, even though it's only like 2.5% per transaction, because the fee that you have to pay per transaction when you're a seller is 5%. 2.5 goes to Top Shot, 2.5 goes to the NBA PA. So the players are getting a kickback; they're getting their royalties as well, which is pretty cool to see that it's not just a cash grab for Top Shot. So they are getting some money. But it's an interesting thing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think it's going to be a $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion idea for the next 10 years. It may or may not be. I don't know. All I can say right now is there's a lot of money to be made in it. And there's a lot of growth and there's a lot of advancement that can happen. The possibilities for this program, for this idea, are endless. There are all kinds of digital stamps that the players could be involved in. There's things that they could do, personalized messages to the owners, all kinds of stuff that could be implemented into this as this continues to grow. I'm not planning on selling anything big anytime soon. I'm kind of more in I'm going to invest, 50, 60, maybe $100 max into it and see what happens. I have no problem putting $100 into something and taking the gamble on it. I gamble on stuff all the time. So I'm more of a long-term guy. I've got money invested in cryptocurrency, low cost. I have no problem putting money into this. Yeah, I see. Actually, I'm looking at the Top Shot website right now. Terry Rozier, or however you say his name, is on. They're advertising it right now. He's opening packs live. Now, the one thing I will say, some of the players that were involved in some openings the other night, I have overheard some people that watched the live streams, and it got really awkward because you have multi-millionaire players that were essentially begging fans to send them free moments, to send them free packs, to send them free stuff. And these are multi-millionaire athletes that are begging people to send them for free moments, for free packs. And it's like, just buy them. You can literally go and buy them from people that are selling that stuff on eBay or wherever else. You can just go buy it yourself. I mean, do like who was the player earlier today put on Twitter that he was going to open some packs and give moments away to his followers, which was pretty cool. That's the type of thing I like to see with the pro athletes. Don't panhandle to get free stuff when you're already a multimillionaire. Get the stuff, build your brand, give those moments away, and build a bigger following. I'm trying to catch up on the message board. Hang on a second. Digital trading card moments. I don't get it, but my $9 turned into a lot more. Absolutely. Tried, but I was the last one I was like 47,000, and there was only 5,000 packs. Last night, 51K ahead of me. Luca just drained a 3. Mavs up 3. Rosero, I'm skeptical of anything digital like Bitcoin, Top Shot, blockchain, etc. Computer crashes happen more often than, say, house fires burning. I definitely see what you're saying, David, and I get the skepticism. We are in a changing era. And a lot of us collectors that have been collecting for 10 plus years, we're old school mentality. I will say this, when you're comparing to a potential crash, Bitcoin's been around for 15 years. And never once has anybody that has invested in Bitcoin lost their Bitcoin from a server crash of Bitcoin. Now, people have lost their Bitcoin because they have forgotten their passwords or stuff like that. Absolutely, but that's more on the owner of it than anything else, not so much the wallet or the currency. It would be just like if you put your Michael Jordan rookie card into a safe and then forgot your combination to the safe. Same type of thing. There are ways into it, absolutely. You just have to pay money to get to it. That you could easily pay money to get your password figured out for your digital wallet, just like you could pay money to a locksmith to unlock your safe. Same type of thing. The skepticism around things such as blockchain, such as NFTs, such as cryptocurrencies and stuff, I think those are going to really, those skepticisms and those fears of investing money into it are going to change drastically over the next decade, as they've changed a lot over the last decade. The decade of 2020, of the 20s, excuse me, is going to change a lot of people's minds. We are going to step into a completely different era. So it's to a point, and I'm not saying that you need to go out and invest in everything digital that you see, but I believe that we are going to see a completely different path for a lot of mindsets, especially for people who have been fighting it for so long. They're going to have to get with the picture of where things are headed. Because if we continued to fight things, back when the internet first really hit life, there was a lot of people that fought it, that thought it was a fad, that thought it was, not going to last. And here we are, 25 years later, and you guys are watching me on the internet. And everybody utilizes the internet hourly. I don't know many people in my life that don't use the internet any less than a dozen times a day. Whether it's your phone, whether it's a mobile device, tablet, computer, gaming console, your television, your Blu-ray player, your DVD player, whatever the case may be, we all use it. And cryptocurrency and NFTs and blockchain has been there for a long time. We are now advancing to a point where we are trading and buying and investing in those things that have been there for a long time. And blockchain is a safer way for a digital footprint, because things like NFTs, these Top Shots are called NFTs, everything is tracked, everything is collated, everything is quantified within this. It's probably one of the safest things you can do. All these servers with all this stuff, if you do the research on them, they're all backed up. Now, I'm not saying throw away your card collections by any stretch of imagination, because I sure as hell am not. I love my cards. I will continue to collect sports cards. I will continue to collect sports cards till they stop making sports cards, and I will still continue to buy them long after they stop making them, if they ever stop making them. I love sports cards. I do. I love collecting them. I love buying them. I love selling them. I love trading them. I love stashing them. I have boxes of stashed cards that, I don't want to open them. I just leave them tucked away. Forget about them. But digital is the here and now. It really is. And if you can get in on it early enough, Bitcoin is a prime example. Everybody laughed at Bitcoin 15 years ago when it was a penny a share. Now look at it. It's just under $50,000 per share. Imagine buying in at a penny, $50 when it was a penny, getting 3,600 shares-ish after transaction fees. 3,600 shares, and they're $50,000 a share today. I'll take that. And I don't mean to sit here and get into a digital or cryptocurrency rant or anything by any stretch of the imagination. I was more just trying to explain Top Shot a little bit for anybody who has looked into it and maybe had some hesitations about doing it. I did it, and if you want to take my endorsement, if you want to call it, I don't even know if I would call it an endorsement. If you are okay with spending $40-50 into something with a potential as being a potential gamble to make some money, if you're comfortable enough to do it, go for it. It's not for everybody. Not saying it has to be, but it could turn out big. But like I said, I'm at a point where I can sink $50 into this, and if I lose all $50, I lose all $50. I've done dumber things with money. So, Dave, I would agree. I kind of hope it does take off. It has really taken off already, and it sounds like from what I was hearing, they're getting close to like 100,000 people have signed up for the site now. I don't know if it's going to take off to a point that it affects people buying sports cards. What it might do is it might pump more money into people buying sports cards, which could have a negative effect on costs, because if all of a sudden people have house money that they're playing on because they sold expensive Top Shots moments, and all of a sudden they go and turn around and spend $1,200 on a box of Don Russ basketball because that's what it's charged at by the big retailers, it's screwing the rest of us who don't want to pay $1,200 for that box of Don Russ. That's the negative side of it. House money. House money always wins. You can spend it frivolously. Oh man, guys. Oh, the shit we talk about on here. God dang. Okay, let's get to our product break. Let me get my camera flipped around here. You're going to lose me for 1 second, but don't fret. I will be right back. I told you I'd be right back. The sign even said I would be right back. I can't speak highly enough about the internal fun stuff that I have discovered within my encoding software. Having all these tools that they've added, so that I can have all these transitions and widgets and all this kind of fun stuff. It's awesome. I like it. It's helping a lot so that I don't just have a dead air or, nothing on the screen. I gotta change. This is, There we go. That's right, Terrell. Welcome to the show, by the way, Terrell. I noticed this is the first week you've been on. So tonight we are going to rip a box of 2021 Donruss Racing. Now, if you have not ripped any of this or you have not watched any breaks yet, this is a rather long product to get into. It's 24 packs per box, 8 cards per pack, 1 auto and 2 memorabilia cards per box on average. Now, I don't know about everybody else. I have opened up a couple of this already, and I've been noticing it's been 2 autos to every box. I don't know if I just got a hot case. I don't know if I got a hot 2 cases that I was diving through. I don't know if I just am lucky. I don't know what, but I did notice that I was getting 2 autos. So let's get into this. Well, I definitely appreciate you subbing, Terrell. I know we've been following each other for a while. Crap, you got into a few breaks of when I was breaking back in the day too, so it's not like you're a stranger. I agree, Taylor. This stuff, they did a good job with it this year. I do like how they kind of incorporated a lot of different looks into the cards. So you get more than just a basic set. You get all the different parallels or all the different types as well. Heck yeah, if your first big hit came from one of my breaks, damn, that's awesome. I love reminiscing about those days. That was a lot of fun. I am gonna get the breaking going again, but I want to get the studio built first. Okay, so getting into our product here. So here is the base cards, which looks just like your Donruss football that we saw earlier this year. So starting off with a base card of Clint Boyer, and then Jeremy Clements, and then here we get a red parallel numbered out of 299 of Jeb Burton. And we get a Dominator insert of Jimmy Johnson. It's kind of got that firework foil to it. Donald Driver. You know what? I bet you I still have that video somewhere. Here's our Optic, which is the old, kind of looks like the... it kind of looks like the 89, 90-ish Donruss look to the cards. And then we get an insert of Kurt Busch Donruss Race Kings. And then here's the paper version of the Donruss. And I believe it does say on the back, 88 Retro. That's right, 88. So Daniel Suarez, Jeremy Clements base. Brennan Poole, and we get a Kyle Busch. And this is one thing, okay, I'm going to say this right now. The race cars are underrated. And I watched racing back in the day. I haven't really watched it over the last decade, but I was a big Mark Martin fan back in the 90s. And doing the cards where they did a run of the cards like this is awesome to me. I really like the actual cars instead of just the drivers. Because to me, watching racing, this is what I know. You know, this is not what I know. That's what I know. Okay, Richard Petty. That's cool. And then we get a, looks like a gray border parallel, Kyle Busch Race Kings. This is a cool set. The Aero Package insert, Kyle Busch. Out of all the inserts, this is probably my favorite insert out of this product. And then we get the optic for the base cards as well. So then we get the Justin Haley in that. Hunter Nemechek and a Race Kings Ryan Blaney. And I'm trying to keep these sorted so I know what I've got when we're trying to do the giveaway. Brandon Jones, Zane Smith. Get a gray border parallel Austin Hill. Here we go. And we get a numbered Dominators, Martin Truex Jr., numbered out of 199. Ray Black Jr., Optic, in the retro. Ryan Sieg, Ricky Stenhouse, and Justin Haley. All right, time to start flying a little bit through this. And we do get rated rookies in this as well. Matt Snyder, Ryan Truex, Tyler Reddick, Gray Bortle, Todd Gilliland. Elite Series, Kyle Busch. We're getting a lot of Kyle Busch in this box. Bobby Allison. That's cool throwback right there. That's a hollow as well, by the way. Bubba Wallace Race Kings and Vinnie Miller. Another Vinnie Miller, Byron William, or excuse me, William Byron. We get a green of Chase Elliott, numbered out of 99, 14 of 99. We get a Kurt Busch Contenders ticket. Denny Hamlin Optic, Mike Harmon, Christopher Bell, and a Race Kings Brad Keselowski. Ray Black Jr., Ross Chastain, Martin Truex. We get a gray border Reed Sorensen. Tony Stewart Retro Series. Brandon Brown Optic, Ryan Newman, Ryan Truex. Martin Truex Jr. car, Spencer Boyd. We get a red border of the 88 Retro Austin Hill, numbered out of 299. Retro Series, Jimmy Johnson. We get an Optic Race Kings, Jeff Burton. Michael McDowell. Hey, he just won the Daytona 500. Bubba Wallace and Brandon Jones. This is a fat pack, so I'm guessing we've got a relic piece in here. William Byron, Ben Rhodes, and our swatch is Bubba Wallace. And it's even numbered out of 250. Numbered 203 of 250. Bubba Wallace. It's a piece of his tire. And we get another Bubba Wallace. We get the gray border. And a Dominators, Tony Stewart. We get an Optic rated rookie, Matt Snyder. Hollow even. Not numbered. Martin Truex Jr. Race Kings and Jesse Little. And there are buyback autos in this product as well. We got Natalie Decker, rated rookie. Riley Hurst. And a purple border, numbered out of 49, J.J. Yelly. And then we get Kurt Busch Aero Package. So we got Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch. John Hunter, Optic. Where did I put those? There we go. Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, and a Race Kings Joey Gase. Decker's a 15er, huh? Wow. That's pretty awesome. Ryan Blaney, Matt DiBenedetto, Denny Hamlin. We get a gray border of the 88 Retro William Byron. Where did I put those? There we go. Mark Martin, that's my old favorite driver right there. Very cool insert. Ben Rhodes Optic, Joe Graff, Chris Boucher. John Hunter, Kaz Gralla, blue border, Austin Hill out of 199. We get a Joey Logano action packed. Those are a cool foil card. Oop. We get Chase Briscoe Optic, Kurt Busch, Joey Logano Race Kings, and Grant Enfinger. I would love to see it downtown. Eric Jones. We get a rated rookie Josh Williams. And we get a relic of Chase Elliott. Race Day Relics. Chase Elliott. We get a gray border Dale Earnhardt Jr. We get a Terry Labonte NASCAR Classics. Optic of Christopher Bell, Hollow. Yeah, right there. Timmy Hill and Cole Custer. Yeah, there's been a lot of good stuff in this so far. Ty Dillon, Timmy Hill, sorry, and we get a pink. Oh, numbered out of 25, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Pink. Numbered 15 of 25. We got Derek Cope in the NASCAR Classics. Bubba Wallace in the Optic. Austin Hill, Ty Majeski, and Ryan Newman Race Kings. Sorry, I gotta straighten some of this stuff out because it's starting to slide. Mason Massey, rated rookie. Noah Gragson, Ricky Stenhouse. Noah Gragson, gray. We get an Elite Series, Denny Hamlin. Those really do pop. Greg Biffle, Optic. Brad Keselowski, Eric Jones. So we still have not seen our auto hit yet. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, car. Ryan Preece, gray border. And we get a numbered Elite Series of Kevin Harvick, numbered to 199. 51 of 199. Kevin Harvick. Daniel Suarez. Chase Elliott. Ty Dillon Race Kings. He was just on the Pat McAfee show the other day. And Danica Patrick. Yep, there's an auto, at least one auto in every box, Zeus. The couple boxes I've opened so far, have all had 2 autos, actually. Joey Gase, Justin Allgaier, Daniel Suarez, and a blue border Denny Hamlin Race Kings, numbered at a 199. We get an action-packed Ricky Stenhouse. We get a rated rookie optic hollow Cody Vanderwall. Matt DiBenedetto, sorry, William Byron. We're getting down there, guys. Bailey Curry rated rookie, and here we go. Here's our auto, Greg Biffle. Very cool, Greg Biffle. Nice big scribble for an auto on there. Ryan Vargas, gray border. Retro Series, Harry Gant. Ryan Preece optic. Kyle Busch Race Kings, Reed Sorensen, and Joey Logano. Yeah, Biffle's a solid auto to get. And we still have, what, 8 packs? 6 packs? Chris Buescher, Harrison Burton, Austin Dillon, Garrett Smithley, Race Kings gray border. We get a Rusty Wallace NASCAR Classics. We get an optic of Ryan Blaney, Noah Gragson, and Garrett Smithley Race Kings. All right, last stack. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packs left. Tommy Joe Martins, rated rookie. Joey Logano. Race Kings of Denny Hamlin, red border at a 299. 259, 259, 269 of 299. It's tough to see. We get a Joey Logano Contenders ticket. Ryan Newman optic. Ryan Preece, Cole Custer, and Zane Smith. Justin Haley, Denny Hamlin, and I think we did get a second auto. And it might be a good one. It is 5 of 5 buyback auto Terry Labonte. Boom. Terry Labonte, silver ink, 5 of 5. That is an awesome hit right there. Very cool auto. Awesome. And then we got a Taylor Gray, rated rookie, gray border. Terry Labonte. Kevin Harvick Aero package. Michael McDowell, hollow optic. Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin. All right, 4 packs left. Yeah, the buybacks are pretty awesome. Let's see if we can get a nice numbered, low numbered card. Jimmy Johnson, black border. Very cool. And those are not numbered. Christopher Bell. We get a blue border of Jeb Burton out of 199. Numbered 82 of 199. We get another of the Contenders tickets. Chase Elliott, Race Kings Carl Edwards in the Optic, and a Race Kings Chris Boucher. Ray Black Jr., Tony Stewart. 3 packs left. I was wondering, I've seen a lot of them out, so I kind of figured they were rather common. Jeb Burton, Brad Keselowski. We get a Drew Dollar rated rookie. Joey Logano, gray border. Action Packed, Brad Keselowski. Alex Lab, rated rookie Optic. Brandon Brown and a Tyler Reddick. The Contenders tickets should be cracked ice. I don't know. They look like they've got the fireworks the same design as a lot of the other inserts. I haven't seen a cracked ice ticket yet. Or you're saying they should have done them in cracked ice is what I think what you're saying. We got Jimmy Johnson, Brandon Brown. We get a Danica Patrick red border of the Retro 88, numbered out of 299. 188 of 299. Then we get a Retro Series Terry Labonte. So we get the Retro Series and the auto, the buyback auto. Yes, that I would agree. I definitely agree with. That would be awesome. Morgan Shepherd in the Optic 88, Anthony Alfredo, Kaz Gralla, and Brett Moffitt. And our last pack, guys. Last pack. Ty Majeski, Joey Logano Carr, Grant Enfinger. We get a gray border Derek Kraus. We get a Dominators Mark Martin. Right on. We get a Tony Stewart Race Kings Optic Hollow. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Race Kings, and ending out with a Riley Herbst 88 Retro base. So what a break. Highlighted with Terry Labonte, buyback auto 5 of 5. The Greg Biffle Signature Series auto. Chase Elliott Race Day Relics. And a Bubba Wallace Retro 88 Relics, numbered out of 250. I did not see a single Haley Deegan in the entire box. Not one. Yeah, overall, that was definitely a solid box. I will not argue that one bit. Not one bit. Okay, let me get some stuff moved around here. So I actually have some room to display the giveaways. I don't think any of the harder inserts were numbered. We didn't get an Aero package numbered. That's too bad. I do like that set. We didn't get any numbered Dominators. Oh, we did. We did get the Martin Truex numbered Dominator. That's right. Okay. Let's get the base moved out of the way quick. So we're not concerned with the base right now. Get the Race Kings out of the way. Get the rated rookies out of the way. Get all this stuff moved. So I can figure out what we're going to do giveaway. Yeah, there's usually, from what I've seen, there's been at least one insert in a box that's numbered. It's not bad odds at all. I'm going to sleeve these up real quick so they don't take on any damage when I'm moving them around. Okay. I'm going to give away I'm going to give away the Greg Biffle auto. That's going to be prize number 1. Get these protected real quick. Hang on a second. I don't like hits being unsleeved and top loaded. Boom. Okay, we're going to do the Greg Biffle auto, and I'm going to give away the 2 relics as a 2-pack to one person. So it'll be one person's going to win the Biffle auto, one person's going to win the 2 relics, the Chase Elliott and the Bubba Wallace, okay? So those are going to be the 2 we give away tonight. So, where is my random stuff? All right, if you'd like to be entered into the drawing for the 2 giveaways, just type me in the chat. M-E, just type the word me. M-E. David. Terrell. Shane. Dave Fitch. Taylor. You are very welcome, Terrell, and thanks for joining. Mavericks ended up winning that. Wow. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anybody else in? Dang, Luka went for 31 tonight. 2 assists shy of a triple-double. I'll give everybody a few moments to get entered. If they want to get entered, just type the word me into the chat. M-E. Trae Young, 28 points, 12 assists tonight. 3 rebounds shy of a triple-double. Colin Sexton goes off for 29 in a win over Atlanta. Bruce got the start for the Nets tonight and put up 29 points. Jeez. Tied with Harden for the game lead, 29. Who else we got? We got the Warriors beat the Knicks tonight. What did Steph do? Steph put up 37, went 7 of 14 on 3-pointers, 12 of 12 at the free throw line. We'll give it just another minute for anybody that wants to get entered. Bucks take down the T-Wolves, not surprising. Anthony Edwards shot 23% tonight, only had 9 points. Cat put up 26 points Him and Beasley led the T-Wolves in scoring. Towns also had 11 assists. Giannis did what Giannis does and scored 30-plus points. Went off for 37 points, shooting 72% tonight. God, that man is a beast. Crazy. All right, does anybody else want to enter, or am I cutting it off here? All right. Gonna cut it off right there then. Let's go over to our dice roller. This is how many times we're gonna randomize the list. 8 times. We're gonna randomize our list 8 times. Jump back over to our random list. 1. Good luck, everybody. Oh, Zeus. All right, hang on. Go back. Jesus. What was it? 8 times? All right, 8 times. I was wondering where you disappeared to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th and final time. Good luck, everybody. Zeus pulls out the win. Last second, he jumps in and wins the Greg Biffle auto. Shane walking away with the 2 relic pieces. Bubba Wallace and Chase Elliott. Congratulations to our winners. Get the boom and boom. Congratulations. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, so that was a fun rip. Good box. Congratulations to the winners, Shane and Zeus, on winning the cards. So next week we're back. We don't really have any products coming out before next week because of the delays, because of the weather. So I'll probably try to pick up some retail if I can. Yeah, I'm gonna try to see maybe if I can get some Optic or Hoops Premium retail to rip for next week. Worst case scenario, I do have a few boxes of Don Russ Racing. Worst case scenario. Yeah, so that was the show for tonight. Again, thank you everybody for coming on. Thanks to anybody that knew. I want to thank Mr. Eric Doty from the Loupe app, CEO of Loupe, for the interview tonight. And seriously, guys, go check it out. Download Loupe and check out the platform, whether it's for the intention of selling or buying or getting into breaks or whatever. Know that the sellers are vetted through their processes, so you have the full support of Loupe in the vetting process. Yeah, we want to keep growing the show, so bring your friends in next week. We'll be here again next week, 6 p.m. Probably have another interview on, or I've got a couple of analysts that are trying to clear some time to be on next week as well to talk a little sports. But I guess we'll see you all next week and talk to you on social media. I hope you guys have a good week. Stay safe out there, and see you next Tuesday.